In 1967, a geologist noticed something unusual off the coast of southern Greece. Regular patterns on the seafloor, straight lines, right angles, structures, not natural formations, buildings, an entire city, submerged 3 to 4 meters beneath the surface, perfectly preserved, streets, houses, courtyards, tombs, dating to 5,000 years ago. The oldest submerged city in Europe, it's called Pavlopetri, and it challenges everything we thought about Bronze Age urbanism. The city covers approximately 50,000 square meters. Larger than many ancient Greek settlements, the layout is sophisticated. Grid-patterned streets, organized blocks, central squares. This level of urban planning wasn't supposed to exist in 2800 BC, yet here it is, underwater, undisturbed, waiting 5,000 years to be discovered. The buildings are intact, walls standing, rooms identifiable, storage areas, living spaces, workshops, all visible, all mappable, all proving Bronze Age Greeks were more advanced than we credited. Pavlopetri wasn't always underwater. 5,000 years ago, it was a thriving port, controlling maritime trade routes between Crete and mainland Greece, Cyprus, Egypt, the Eastern Mediterranean. Pottery found at the site comes from multiple regions, proving trade connections, cultural exchange, economic networks spanning hundreds of kilometers. This was cosmopolitan center, international hub, in 2800 BC, before writing, before classical Greece, before everything we associate with Greek civilization. Then something happened. The land subsided, slowly, or earthquakes struck, suddenly. The exact mechanism is debated, but the result is clear. The city sank. Water rose, buildings flooded, population fled or drowned. We don't know. No bodies have been found. Just empty structures, abandoned, preserved by submersion, salt water protecting what air would destroy. Wood is gone, organic materials decayed, but stone remains. Walls, foundations, streets, everything built to last, lasting. The preservation is exceptional. Underwater sites often deteriorate, currents, marine life, human interference. But Pavlopetri's shallow depth protects it. Too shallow for large ships, too deep for casual swimming. The site remained undiscovered for millennia, undisturbed, unknown, until 1967, when geologist Nick Fleming mapped it during oceanographic survey, recognizing architectural features, understanding significance, reporting findings, sparking decades of research. Modern surveys using sonar and photogrammetry revealed incredible detail. Individual rooms, doorways, storage jars still in place, streets with drainage systems. This wasn't primitive settlement. This was planned city, with infrastructure, with organization, with governance capable of coordinating construction, maintaining standards, enforcing layout. Bronze Age societies were supposed to be simple, agricultural, tribal. Pavlopetri proves otherwise. Complex urbanism existed, earlier than expected, more sophisticated than assumed. The city's age is remarkable. Occupation dates from 2800 to 1100 BC, nearly 2,000 years of continuous habitation, longer than Rome, longer than most modern cities, generations living in same structures, same streets, same layout. This continuity suggests stability, security, prosperity. Cities don't last unless they work, unless they provide what inhabitants need. Pavlopetri worked for 2 millennia, until it didn't, until the sea claimed it. Why did it sink? The region is seismically active. Earthquakes are common. Coastal subsidence documented over centuries, over millennia. Land drops, water rises, gradually, imperceptibly, until suddenly cities are underwater. This happened across the Mediterranean. Multiple sites, multiple periods. Pavlopetri is one example, among many, but exceptionally preserved, exceptionally complete, teaching us what was lost elsewhere. Do you believe more submerged cities exist, undiscovered, waiting? The Mediterranean coastline has changed dramatically. Sea levels rose, land subsided, entire regions disappeared beneath waves. Ancient ports, trade cities, coastal settlements, all potentially underwater, all potentially preserved, like Pavlopetri, waiting for technology, for survey, for recognition. How many cities rest on sea floors? Unknown, uncounted, each one holding evidence, each one rewriting history. Pavlopetri's layout reveals urban planning principles. Streets intersect at right angles, buildings aligned to grid. Public spaces placed centrally. This isn't accidental growth. This is intentional design. Someone planned this, drew plans, directed construction, enforced standards. Bronze Age city planning, formal, systematic, advanced. We see similar patterns in classical Greece, Rome, but those are 2,000 years later. Pavlopetri proves the principles existed earlier, much earlier. Were they invented here or inherited from even older tradition? We don't know. The pottery evidence is crucial. Ceramics from Crete, Minoan style, from Cyprus, from Egypt, from Anatolia, all found at Pavlopetri, mixed together, proving trade, proving connections, proving economic integration across Mediterranean. Bronze Age wasn't isolated communities. It was network, connected cities, shared culture, trade routes linking civilizations. Pavlopetri was node in that network. Important node, strategic location between major powers, between trade routes, between worlds. The buildings show standardization, similar construction techniques, similar dimensions, similar layouts. This suggests building codes, standards, regulations. Someone decided how buildings should be built and enforced it consistently across the city, across decades. This requires authority, organization, bureaucracy, things we associate with later civilizations, classical period, Hellenistic, Roman. But Pavlopetri had them 3,000 years earlier in Bronze Age. Before writing was widespread, before states formalized, before everything we think necessary for urban governance. The drainage systems are sophisticated, channels cut into streets, directing water, preventing flooding, managing waste. This requires engineering, understanding hydraulics, planning infrastructure, not just building houses, but building city, with systems, with services, with maintenance. Bronze Age urban engineering, functional, effective, still visible after 5,000 years underwater, still teaching us how it worked. The site isn't fully excavated, can't be. Underwater excavation is expensive, difficult, slow, and removal risks destroying context, disturbing preservation. Better to document in situ, using technology, non-invasive survey, 3D modeling, virtual reconstruction. This preserves site while extracting information. Modern approach, balancing knowledge with preservation, learning from mistakes made elsewhere, where excavation damaged what it sought to study. Pavlopetri offers lessons about climate, about sea level, about coastal vulnerability. 5,000 years ago, this was thriving city. Now it's underwater, not because of catastrophe, not because of war, because the land sank or water rose. Natural processes, inexorable, unstoppable. What happened to Pavlopetri could happen again, is happening. Current sea level rise threatens coastal cities worldwide. Modern technology might protect them, temporarily, but long-term, eventually water wins, always. Pavlopetri proves this. The lack of written records frustrates researchers. No inscriptions, no tablets, no texts explaining who these people were, what language they spoke, what they called themselves. We call them Bronze Age Greeks, but they predated Greece as concept, predated Mycenaeans, predated everything historically documented. They're prehistoric, by definition, before history, before writing, before records. Only archaeology speaks for them. Only stones, only pottery, only city layouts, silent testimony, requiring interpretation. allowing speculation, creating uncertainty. But what testimony it is. Complete city, intact, preserved, frozen at moment of abandonment, like Pompeii underwater, without the bodies, without the tragedy, just emptiness, silence, structures waiting, streets leading nowhere, buildings sheltering no one. Ghost city, but ghost city that teaches, that reveals, that challenges assumptions about who built cities, when, how, why. Pavlopetri answers questions we didn't know to ask, raises questions we can't yet answer. The international significance is profound. Every archaeology textbook mentions Pavlopetri. Every underwater archaeology course studies it. Every discussion of Bronze Age urbanism references it because it's unique, earliest, best preserved, most complete, standard against which other sites are measured. Benchmark for understanding period, proof of capabilities, evidence of sophistication. Pavlopetri stands alone, in time, in preservation, in importance. Greece protects it now. Designated archaeological site, restricted access, monitored, preserved. As much as underwater site can be preserved, currents still erode, marine life still colonizes, time still degrades, but slowly. Protection helps, limits damage, extends survival, ensuring future generations can study it, learn from it, wonder at it. This is responsibility, heritage management, preserving past for future, balancing access with protection, knowledge with preservation. Tourism is limited, carefully controlled, snorkeling allowed, with guides, with restrictions, no touching, no removing, no disturbing, just observing, witnessing, experiencing, seeing 5,000-year-old streets, walking, swimming, above them, imagining life, activity, people, now gone, forever, leaving only stones, only walls, only memories, encoded in architecture, readable by those who know how, mysterious to those who don't. The comparison with Atlantis is inevitable, but wrong. Pavlopetri isn't mythical, isn't legendary, isn't disputed. It's real, documented, mapped, studied, published, verified, not speculation, not fantasy, archaeological fact. But the romance is similar. Lost city beneath waves, ancient civilization, forgotten, rediscovered, truth echoing myth, reality matching imagination. Pavlopetri proves lost cities exist, just not Atlantis, not yet, maybe never. But this is real, this is found, this is proven. Other Mediterranean submerged sites exist. Baiae in Italy, Phoenician port cities, Egyptian harbors, all underwater now, all documented, all studied. Pavlopetri is oldest, but not only. Pattern repeats, coastlines change, cities sink, civilizations adjust or disappear. This is history, repeating, teaching, warning. If it happened before, it can happen again. It is happening, slowly, inexorably, like it happened to Pavlopetri, like it will happen to others, unless we learn, unless we adapt, unless we remember what the stones beneath the waves are telling us. If ancient submerged cities and Bronze Age mysteries fascinate you, subscribe to Veiled Origin. Your support helps explore what the sea preserved. This is Veiled Origin, where cities rest beneath waves and stones still speak, after 5,000 years of silence. The question of who lived here haunts researchers. We know occupation, we know dates, we know activities, trade, fishing, pottery making, but identity, unknown. Were they Proto-Greeks, pre-Mycenaean population, Anatolian settlers, Minoan colony? Evidence allows multiple interpretations. Pottery styles suggest connections to all these cultures, but connection isn't identity. Trade doesn't mean origin. We exchange with many. We belong to one. Pavlopetri's people traded widely. But who were they fundamentally? Their graves don't say. Their buildings don't specify. Their bones aren't found. Only stones remain, and stones don't declare nationality. This anonymity is common in prehistory. Before writing, identity is archaeological inference. Guesswork. Educated. Evidence-based. But guesswork nonetheless. We group cultures by pottery, by tools, by burial practices, creating categories, labels, cultures. But ancient people didn't know these labels, didn't identify by pottery style. They had names, languages, identities, all lost, leaving us to reconstruct imperfectly, incompletely, uncertainly. Pavlopetri teaches humility. We can map cities but not name citizens. We can date occupation but not write biographies. Archaeology reveals much, but not everything. Some knowledge is irretrievably lost. The economic basis of Pavlopetri's prosperity is clear. Location, port access, trade routes. But what did they export? Fish, certainly. Pottery, possibly. Agricultural products, probably. Olive oil, wine, grain, standard Mediterranean commodities. Maybe purple dye, extracted from murex shells. Valuable, traded widely, or metals. Bronze requires copper and tin, neither common, both imported. Maybe Pavlopetri was transshipment point, connecting suppliers to manufacturers. Middleman economy, profitable, sustainable, for 2,000 years. The city's decline is gradual, not sudden catastrophe. Occupation continues from 2800 to 1100 BC, then ends. Why? The usual suspects: economic shift, trade routes changing, competition from other ports, gradual subsidence making harbor less usable, earthquakes, political instability, Bronze Age collapse affecting entire region. Around 1200 BC, Mediterranean civilizations fell. Mycenaean palaces destroyed. Hittite Empire collapsed. Egyptian New Kingdom weakened. Trade networks disrupted. Cities abandoned. Dark Age began. Pavlopetri was victim of this larger pattern. Regional catastrophe, not local failure. But the subsidence preserved it. As the city became uninhabitable, water protected it, prevented reoccupation, prevented stone robbing, prevented medieval building, prevented everything that destroys archaeological sites. Pavlopetri sank into preservation. Accidental time capsule, protected by depth, by obscurity, by luck, until rediscovery, until technology allowed study, until modern archaeology could appreciate what antiquity left behind. The study continues, new surveys, new technology, new questions. Each generation of researchers brings new tools, new methods, new perspectives. Pavlopetri yielded secrets to 1960s archaeologists. Different secrets to 2000s teams will yield more to future researchers. The site is inexhaustible, not because it's infinite, but because our questions evolve, our capabilities improve, our understanding deepens. What we couldn't see in 1967, we see now. What we can't see now, we'll see later. Pavlopetri is patient, waiting, teaching, enduring. The broader implications matter most. Pavlopetri proves Bronze Age Mediterranean was interconnected. Urban, sophisticated, not primitive villages, not isolated communities. Cities, networks, trade, culture, shared across regions, across seas. Bronze Age globalization, not modern scale, not modern speed, but same principle. Connection, exchange, influence, spreading ideas, technology, styles, creating unified civilization, diverse but connected. Pavlopetri participated, contributed, benefited, until it couldn't, until it sank, until the network moved on, leaving it behind, preserved, forgotten, rediscovered. Modern threats loom. Climate change raises sea levels, threatens coastal sites. Pavlopetri is already underwater, but rising seas bring stronger currents, more turbulence, increased erosion. The site survived 5,000 years. Will it survive another 100? Preservation efforts help, monitoring helps, documentation helps. But ultimately, natural forces prevail. We can slow degradation, we can't stop it. Time wins, water wins, eventually always. Pavlopetri teaches this too. Nothing lasts forever, not cities, not civilizations, not even stones beneath the sea. But for now it remains accessible, studyable, visitable, tangible connection to Bronze Age. You can swim above it, look down, see streets, see buildings, see history, directly, immediately. No museum glass, no reconstruction, just original structures, in original locations, underwater, preserved, waiting. This is rare, precious, irreplaceable. Pavlopetri isn't just oldest submerged city in Europe, it's window into past, into Bronze Age, into human capability, into what was and what was lost and what remains. Beneath the waves, teaching, always teaching, if we choose to learn. If Europe's oldest underwater city and Bronze Age urbanism intrigue you, subscribe to Veiled Origin. Your support explores what sank but survived. This is Veiled Origin, where 5,000-year-old streets wait beneath shallow waters, and history refuses to stay buried, even underwater, especially underwater. The technological achievement of mapping Pavlopetri deserves recognition. Underwater survey is difficult, visibility limited, time constrained by dive safety, equipment expensive, yet researchers created detailed plans, street layouts, building dimensions, room configurations, all mapped, all recorded, all published. This wasn't luck. This was skill, dedication, persistence, years of work, multiple expeditions, international collaboration, Greek authorities, British universities, Australian researchers, all contributing, all sharing, all advancing knowledge collectively. The 3D models now available online democratize access. Anyone can explore Pavlopetri virtually, rotate buildings, walk streets digitally, examine details from anywhere for free. This is archaeology's future. Digital preservation, universal access, knowledge shared globally, not restricted to specialists, not locked in archives, available, accessible, educational. Pavlopetri leads this. Pioneering digital archaeology, making ancient cities available to modern world, connecting past to present through technology. The site's future remains uncertain. Protection is difficult underwater. Enforcement is challenging. Monitoring is expensive. Greece does its best. Limited resources, competing priorities, but commitment remains. Recognition of significance, of responsibility, of heritage value. Pavlopetri is protected, studied, shared, as much as circumstances allow, as much as resources permit, as much as technology enables. It's imperfect, but it's something. More than most sites receive, more than many deserve but don't get. The lesson is clear. What we build doesn't last unless we're lucky, unless preservation happens accidentally, unless circumstances align. Pavlopetri was lucky. Sinking preserved it. Shallow depth protected it. Remote location isolated it. Modern discovery documented it. Multiple fortunate factors. Anyone missing and the site would be lost, destroyed, unknown. How many cities weren't lucky? How many sank and eroded? How many were quarried for building stone? How many disappeared completely? We'll never know. We only know the survivors, the lucky ones, like Pavlopetri, teaching us about luck, about preservation, about fragility of evidence, but also about resilience of stone. Properly built, well-designed, stone structures last millennia, even underwater, even abandoned, even forgotten. The people who built Pavlopetri chose well. Solid construction, durable materials, careful planning. Their work survives, their city endures. Not as living place, but as teaching place. Not as home, but as evidence. Evidence of capability, of sophistication, of ambition. They built to last, and it did. Beyond anything they could have imagined. Beyond their civilization, beyond their culture, beyond their language. Into our time, our understanding, our appreciation. This connection across time is powerful. We walk different streets, build different cities, use different technology, but the principle remains: communities gathering, building together, creating urban spaces, organizing life collectively. This is human, universal, timeless. Pavlopetri did it 5,000 years ago. We do it today. Different scale, different methods, same impulse, same need, same achievement. The details change. The essence doesn't. Pavlopetri reminds us, we're not so different, not so advanced, not so unique, just later. Building on what came before, standing on foundations laid millennia ago, by people whose names we'll never know, whose faces we'll never see, but whose work survives, teaching, connecting, enduring. If oldest submerged European cities and Bronze Age achievements fascinate you, subscribe to Veiled Origin. This is Veiled Origin, where ancient streets rest 4 meters down, and 5,000 years mean nothing to stones, to water, to history,